Hello all. Today's topic is popliteal fossa. Popliteal fossa is a diamond-shaped depression lying behind the knee joint, involving the lower part of femur and the upper part of tibia. It is well appreciated when the knee joint is in a semi-flexed position. Since the popliteal fossa is a rhomboid-shaped depression, it is bounded by a different group of muscles on four sides. The superolateral aspect is bounded by the biceps femoris muscle. Supromedially, the semimembranosus and the semitendinosus form the boundary. Inframedially, the medial head of gastrocnemius forms that boundary. Infralaterally, the lateral head of gastrocnemius, supported by the plantaris muscle, forms the boundary. This diagram again is showing the boundaries of popliteal fossa. So if we summarize the boundaries of popliteal fossa, above and medially, it is bounded by the semimembranosus, the semitendinosus muscle, supplemented by the gracilis and the sartorius muscle. Above and laterally, it is bounded by the biceps femoris. Below and medially, it is found by the medial head of gastrocnemius. Below and laterally, it is bounded by the lateral head of gastrocnemius, supplemented by the plantaris muscle. The roof of popliteal fossa is formed by the deep fascia known as the popliteal fascia. Overlying the deep fascia is the superficial fascia, which contains the small saphenous vein and the posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh. These two contents pierce the deep fascia and enters the popliteal fossa. Next, we come to the floor of popliteal fossa. The floor of popliteal fossa is formed from above downwards by the popliteal surface of femur, the capsule of the knee joint, the oblique popliteal ligament, and the strong fascia which is covering the popliteus muscle. This again is showing the structures forming the floor of popliteal fossa. Posterior surface of femur, capsule of the knee joint, oblique popliteal ligament, and fascia covering the popliteus muscle. Now, after discussing the boundaries of popliteal fossa, let us discuss the contents of popliteal fossa. The main contents are the popliteal artery and its branches, the popliteal vein and its tributaries, the tibial and common peroneal nerve with its branches, also the posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh, the genicular branch of posterior division of obturator nerve are present as content of popliteal fossa. The popliteal group of lymph node are also a content of popliteal fossa. All the above structures are surrounded by fat which is supporting all these structures. As we can appreciate here, the popliteal vessels and the tibial nerve, it cross the popliteal fossa vertically from the superior angle till the inferior angle, and they are arranged one over the other. The tibial nerve is the most superficial content. The popliteal vein, it is lying deep or anterior to the tibial nerve, and the popliteal artery is the deepest of all. The arteries cross posteriorly from the lateral side to the medial side by the popliteal vein and the tibial nerve. Hence, the relative position of these structures varies in the different part of the fossa. In the upper part of fossa, from medial to lateral, lies the popliteal artery, the popliteal vein, and the tibial nerve. In the middle part, from superficial to deep, lies the tibial nerve, the popliteal vein, and the popliteal artery. In the lower part, from the medial to lateral side, lies the tibial nerve, the popliteal vein, and the popliteal artery. Also, we can appreciate here that the common peroneal nerve is crossing the fossa obliquely from the superior angle to the lateral angle. It is lying in the same plane as that of the tibial nerve, and it is lying along the medial border of biceps femoris. Now we are going to discuss the popliteal artery. The popliteal artery is a continuation of femoral artery. It begins at the opening in the adductor magnus, that is the hiatus magnus. and it runs downwards and laterally to reach the lower border of popliteus, where it ends by dividing into two terminal branches, the anterior tibial artery and the posterior tibial artery. The popliteal artery is the deepest structure of the popliteal fossa, lying in relation to the floor of the fossa. Here, we can appreciate that the popliteal artery is a continuation of femoral artery after it passes through this hiatus present in the adductor magnus, and it is reaching the posterior aspect, entering the popliteal fossa, and thereby dividing into two terminal branches, that is the anterior tibial and the posterior tibial arteries. The branches given by the popliteal arteries are the muscular branches, two terminal branches, that is the anterior tibial and the posterior tibial arteries, and five genicular branches. There are two superior, two inferior, and one middle genicular artery. The middle genicular artery pierces the oblique popliteal ligament of the knee, and it is supplying the cruciate ligament and the synovial membrane of the knee joint. The medial and the lateral superior genicular arteries wind around the corresponding side of the femur immediately above the corresponding condyle, and they pass deep to the hamstrings. The medial and lateral inferior genicular arteries, they wind around the corresponding tibial condyle, and they pass deep to the collateral ligament of the knee. Now, these genicular arteries reaches the front of the knee joint, and they take part in the formation of anastomosis around the knee joint. The muscular branches of the popliteal artery are given to the adductor magnus, the hamstring group of muscles, the gastrocnemius muscle, the soleus, and the plantaris. The cutaneous branch is given to the skin of the back of the leg. One cutaneous branch accompanies the small saphenous vein. Now we are going to discuss the arterial anastomosis around the knee joint, which is an arterial network situated around the patella and lower end of femur and upper end of tibia. This network is divisible into superficial and deep part. The superficial part is lying in the superficial fascia around the patella and partly in the fat behind the ligamentum patellae. The deep part lies on the femur and the tibia all around the adjoining articular surfaces. That is, it lies in relation with the femoral condyles and the tibial condyles. It is formed medially by the descending genicular artery, which is a branch of femoral artery, the superior medial genicular artery, and the inferior medial genicular arteries. The upper two are branches of the popliteal artery. Laterally, this anastomosis is formed by the descending branch of the lateral circumflex femoral artery, the superior lateral genicular artery, the inferior lateral genicular artery, the anterior tibial recurrent artery, the posterior tibial recurrent artery, and the circumflex fibular artery. The medial and the lateral arteries, they form the longitudinal anastomosis on each side of the patella. The longitudinal anastomoses are interconnected to form the transverse anastomosis just above and below the patella and also above the tibial tuberosity. The anastomosis supplies the bone taking part in formation of knee joint, and it is also supplying the capsule and synovial membrane of the knee joint. Now we are going to discuss the popliteal vein. The popliteal vein begins at the lower border of popliteus by the union of vena comicantis accompanying the anterior and posterior tibial arteries. It is medial to the popliteal artery in the lower part of fossa, lying posterior to the artery in the middle, and posterolateral to artery in the upper part of the fossa. The vein continues as femoral vein at the opening in the adductor magnus. The tributaries of popliteal vein are the small saphenous vein and the vein accompanying the branches of popliteal artery. Small saphenous vein is a tributary of the popliteal vein. It begins at the lateral end of the dorsal venous arch, running behind the lateral malleolus into the middle of the back of leg. It enters the popliteal fossa and it terminates into the popliteal vein. Now talking about the popliteal lymph nodes, there are about 6 to 7 lymph nodes. They are lying embedded in the fatty connective tissue of the popliteal fossa. They drain the deep tissue of the lateral side of leg and of the foot and of the knee joint. Efferents drain to the deep inguinal group of lymph nodes. Talking about tibial nerve, it has a root value of L4, L5, S1, S2 and S3. It is a larger terminal branch of sciatic nerve. It lies superficial or posterior to the popliteal vessels, extending from the superior angle to the inferior angle of the popliteal fossa, crossing the popliteal vessels from lateral to medial side. Now we discuss the branches of tibial nerve, which are the three genicular or the articular branches which arise in the upper part of the popliteal fossa are the superior medial genicular nerve, which is lying above the medial condyle of femur. The middle genicular nerve, it pierces the posterior part of the capsule of the knee joint and supplies the structures in the intercondylar notch of femur. The third nerve is the inferior medial genicular nerve. It lies along the upper border of popliteus and it reaches inferior to the medial condyle of tibia. The cutaneous nerve or the sural nerve, which originates in the middle of the fossa and it leaves at the inferior angle. It supplies the skin of lower half of back of leg and whole of the lateral border of foot till the tip of little toe. The muscular branches arise in the distal part of the fossa for the lateral and medial head of gastrocnemius, the soleus, plantaris, hamstring guffer muscles, and the popliteus. The nerve to the popliteus crosses the popliteal artery. It is running downwards and laterally. It winds around the lower border of popliteus and supplies from its deeper or the anterior surface. In addition to the popliteus, the nerve also supplies in addition to supplying the popliteus, the nerve also gives branch to the tibialis posterior, the superior and inferior tibiofibular joint, the tibia, and the interosseous membrane. Now, if we sum up the branches of tibial nerve, we have the three genicular or the articular branches, that is the superior medial, inferior medial, and the middle genicular branch. The cutaneous branch, also known as the sural nerve, and the muscular branches, which are given to the hamstring, popliteus, plantaris, medial and lateral head of gastrocnemius, and soleus. The nerve to popliteus again supplies the popliteus, tibialis posterior, superior and inferior tibiofibular joint, tibia and interosseous membrane. Now if we discuss the another branch of the sciatic nerve, that is the common peroneal nerve, it arises from the dorsal division of ventral rami of L4, L5, S1 and S2. It is a smaller terminal branch of the sciatic nerve extending from the superior angle of the popliteal fossa to the lateral angle, running along the medial border of biceps femoris. It continues downwards and forwards, winding around the posterolateral aspect of neck of fibula, thereby piercing the peroneus longus and dividing into the superficial and deep peroneal nerves. Now, the branches of common peroneal nerve. They are the cutaneous branches, the articular branch, and the muscular branches. The muscular branches do not arise from this nerve. However, it may give a branch to the short head of biceps femoris. The cutaneous branches are two, that is the lateral cutaneous nerve of calf, which descends to supply the skin of upper two-thirds of lateral side of leg. The second is the peroneal communicating or the sural communicating nerve, which arises in the upper part of popliteal fossa. It runs on the posterolateral aspect of calf and joins the sural nerve. Next, we have the articular branches, which are the superior lateral genicular nerve, the inferior lateral genicular nerve, and the recurrent genicular nerve. The superior lateral genicular nerve accompanies the artery of the same name and it lies along the lateral femoral condyle. The inferior lateral genicular nerve runs along the artery of the same name to the lateral aspect of knee joint above the head of fibula. The recurrent genicular nerve, it arises where the common peroneal nerve divides into the superficial and deep peroneal nerves. It ascends anterior to the knee joint and it supplies the tibialis anterior muscle. Also, it supplies the knee joint. In this slide, we can see The sciatic nerve dividing into the two terminal branches, that is the tibial nerve and the common peroneal nerve. The common peroneal nerve again is divided into the superficial peroneal nerve and the deep peroneal nerve. The superficial peroneal nerve supplies the lateral compartment, that is the peroneus longus muscle and the peroneus brevis muscle. The deep peroneal nerve supplies the tibialis anterior to extensor digitorum longus and to extensor hallucis longus. Also, it gives branch to the extensor digitorum brevis. Now we discuss the clinical anatomy of popliteal fossa. First condition is the popliteal aneurysm, which is presenting as a dilatation of popliteal artery. It is present in the midline pulsatile swelling in the popliteal fossa. This may cause edema of leg due to compression of popliteal vein. The popliteal abscess is a painful red edematous swelling present in the popliteal fossa. Next condition is the Baker's cyst, which is a cystic swelling due to inflammation of bursa around the knee joint or due to the protrusion of synovial membrane through the capsule of knee. In nerve injuries, we have tibial nerve injury, which may result in motor loss as well as sensory loss. The motor loss is due to the superficial and deep muscles of the calf and intrinsic muscles of the sole. The sensory loss is on the whole of sole of foot, the plantar aspect of digits, and nail beds on the dorsum of foot. The common peroneal nerve injury results in the condition known as foot drop. It can get easily injured by the stick blow on the posterolateral aspect of neck of fibula. Since the two terminal branches of the common peroneal nerve, that is the superficial peroneal nerve, supplies the aorta of foot and the deep peroneal supplies the dorsiflexors, these actions are lost. Thus, the condition is known as foot drop. Thank you.